Hey everybody, Ingra Sparkman here from Southbridge Street Live, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we have banded together with CASA, Golden Crescent CASA of Victoria, for their annual backpack drive. Now I know it's summertime, so this is a crazy time to be thinking about school, but for organizations like CASA, they need to gather materials and supplies for children all year long. So this is it for the next couple of weeks. On Southbridge Live, you're going to see that some of my guests will be bringing in backpacks themselves. If you also would like to donate a backpack or school supplies, you can come by our studio at 1102 North William Street, or you can call me at 361-649-1825, and I'll be happy to come by, pick up backpacks and supplies to help support our local Golden Crescent CASA. Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for taking your lunch hour to visit with us today on Southbridge Street Live. I am really excited to introduce my next guest. This is Bethany from the Southside Community Coalition, and I've been hearing a lot about what your organization has been doing in Victoria, so you're here today to just talk to me about everything from the very beginning. But this is an organization that actually started this year in January. So welcome to Southbridge Street Live.
Thank you.
Thank you, by the way, for taking your lunch hour from work.
Oh, of course.
So
I might
because you're at
be a little
Perpetual?
hungry. Yes,
Yes.
Perpetual Help Home.
Tell me a little bit about that, about being the director.
Sure. Okay, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary at Perpetual Help Home.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday we'll make 1 year where I've been the executive director there, and we house women and children, and we're just rocking it this year. We'll probably be above our normal average of women that we house this year.
Wow.
So that's really exciting, and that kind of spurred me to kind of be a part of the South Side. Our organization is located on the South Side of Victoria, and so my drive to work every day, I would just kind of see the same things over and over, and started to sort of think, hey, what if we got this neighborhood together and we started to kind of have a unified vision?
I love that. So the very first question that I want to ask you is, what defines Southside?
A lot of people have different sort of versions of that. I think we've kind of come together as a group and just collectively said sort of Rio Grande Street southward constitutes Southside.
South of Rio Grande.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some deep South Side, like Bottom Street down, which is very South Side, Water Street South, and Wanlin Street South. And that's where I think most of our community members do come from, and where our focus is on increasing retail and grocery opportunities would be one of our big hopes. But also there are some individuals between Rio Grande and Wanlin that we would love to invite out and have their voices be heard as well. And truthfully, I want everyone in Victoria to know that they are more than welcome to come and just be part of the conversation on how members of the South Side of Victoria can really feel included in the community of Victoria as a whole.
So what are some of your goals?
Well, our first meeting, we partnered with Dana Williams Capone that runs the Victoria Public Library, and she is trained in leading community conversations. And through that conversation, we set 3 priorities.
Okay, tell me those.
The first was cleanup and beautification within the neighborhood. Just and just showing people that it's not a scary place to go. It's not a scary place to run a business. And it was very eye-opening for me as someone new to Victoria to hear young parents from that side of town say, this is not the 90s anymore. We grew up here in the 90s and it was scary, but now it's not. This is a safe place to raise kids and families.
So where are you from? Let me interject.
Oh, sorry. Well, I grew up in Karn City, Texas, which is very small. And I moved to San Antonio where I started my teaching career.
Well, there goes that joke. I was like, welcome to the big city of Victoria. Okay, you're gotcha.
Most recently, my husband and I lived in Goliad, Texas, and then 2 weeks ago we moved into the South Side of Victoria. We live on Convent Street now, so we're proud South Side residents
absolutely.
now.
Was that can I ask you, when you were moving from Goliad to Victoria, because you had been one of the founding mothers of this this coalition, did you look for with intent housing in
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm one of those Zillow people, always on Zillow trying to look for a house and stuff, and it was very intentional, I think, for my husband and I to say, we've heard what people have said at these meetings, and it's a good place to raise a family, and we want to help create a sense of community on the South Side. And so we looked for homes there, and we're really excited to meet our neighbors. And
I interrupted you when you were going through your
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm the one who's supposed to be apologizing. I apologize, but I did want to. But again, welcome to Victoria.
Thank you.
What an incredible thing that you're not necessarily a native, and already just Spitfire girl. You are getting things done.
Yes. Sometimes I'm a doer and not a pauser.
Mm-hmm.
So our 3 priorities. Sorry,
Yes.
we'll get back to that. Whereas the cleanup and beautification, to create a sense of pride, truly,
Right.
on the South Side, and a sense of community, and showing the rest of town and others that may want to be moving into town, such as myself, that it's a place to really plant your roots. Second, and really a very strong voice in the voices in the room were coming through, that we need more opportunities for kids and youth on the South Side.
Good.
And kids, that is a definite need. Playgrounds, splash pads, things for families to go and do together. And youth, teens, I taught high school science for the last 8 years of my life, so teens have a really special place in my heart, and wanting to make sure they have a safe place to go and hang out that isn't just in someone's house, and getting into rascal things that teenagers do. And then the third priority was trying to increase retail and business opportunities on the South Side. Things people have brought up is grocery stores aren't far, but when you don't have transportation, or you're relying on a public transit system that closes or opens at a certain time of day, it's difficult to get food for your family. If you need diapers at the last minute, I have a 2-year-old, and I take advantage of, I have my car that I can jump in and go get milk when I need it, but others don't have that opportunity. And then also a laundromat. There isn't a laundromat really anywhere close to the Southside neighborhood, and so it's kind of double the work of going to get groceries. If you go get groceries, you go with empty hands and you come home with full hands. If you go to do laundry, you're leaving with full hands and coming back with full hands.
Right.
And so that transportation piece really comes into play if those opportunities aren't available near you.
So these are your objectives. These
Yes.
are some of your goals. What are some of the things that you guys have been able to, coordinate and work on, or planting the seeds
And so we're very new, and so I will stress that. And one of our goals before we truly start to move forward is having community members attend the meetings. Right now, the meetings are maybe 1/3 to a half community members. We have a lot of super interested individuals, big name people that are coming from the city, that are coming from positions of importance and wanting to hear and wanting to know what Southside residents want and need. But we truly need those community members also at the table to come and share those opinions.
Right, because absolutely you're going to need the community.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think was the most compelling? Because I'm going to be very honest. The first time I heard about the Southside Community Coalition was during the mayoral, as we were getting ready for the voting and everything. We were getting ready to do a Q&A. And I was told that there was a mayoral Q&A at the Southside Community Coalition, and I was like, what is that? I've never heard of that, and it immediately, piqued my interest. How were you able to, from the thought of you're driving to Perpetual Health, you're driving to work, and you're saying, there are really some things in this area that could be, that could improve. How do I get people involved? How did you get, like you said yourself, the quote is some bigger names, some citizens who are influencers, who might not necessarily live in those areas. What do you think that is? What do you think is the tipping point for them to be interested?
Well, I do want to clarify, we didn't necessarily have like a formal mayoral questioning or anything like that. We had many candidates for office who started showing up and started wanting to hear from Southside residents, and I think that was the impetus.
Of their own
of their own volition. They're they heard.
Right.
I think after the first, maybe second meeting, that this is a place where you can go and really hear what these residents are looking for and wanting in one place. And so I really do think it spurred people to come out and say, wow, how all of these voices in one location. And this is something this is a statement that I don't condone by any reason, but I can't tell you how many times people will come to me and say, how do you get them to talk to you? And it was so odd to me because it's such that idea of us versus them. Why can't it be a we? We're all here in the same city and we all want the same things and the same opportunities. But it showed me that that hasn't been done in the past. And so I really
some disconnect.
Yes, and so I do think just that opportunity that now there's a gathering of people trying to come and voice their needs really drew some people from the city and from elected officials to come and try and hear, because there hadn't been that forum before. Kind of the hows, driving from Goliad, if I didn't have to take my daughter to daycare, I'd come in on 59, turn right on Water Street, left on Navarro, right on Juan Lynn, and then left on Cameron Street to get to work. And as I drove that route, there's so much potential. I can't see an empty building or a lot that's empty and not see a basketball court or a grocery store here or some sort of small business or an affordable home for someone to live in. And so those eyes, with those lenses, I just started to think, gosh, there's so much potential. If we could just hear from the neighborhood on what they'd like to see in these spots, maybe we can really start the ball moving forward. So you kind of had asked earlier, like, what have we done or what have we been able to do? So with those 3 priorities, we've broken into 3 groups based on those priorities, neighborhood beautification and unity, really, kids and youth, and then third, retail opportunities. At I think 2 of the 5 meetings, we've broken into those small groups and just had those groups really talk through their hopes and dreams. What connections do they have? What connections do we need to make to try and make things move forward on those fronts? So coming up Friday, our Southside Cleanup and Beautification group has planned a block party to try and get people out and create that sense of community that I think we're looking for. So that's really our first event. Our first public real thing,
That's awesome.
that if you're not coming to the meetings, that someone can come and be a part of.
When is that?
It's going to be this Friday, June 14th,
The 14th?
from 4 to 6 p.m.
4 to 6 p.m. Where are you guys meeting?
We are blocking off East South Street between Depot and Cameron Streets.
Okay.
So it's very close to FW Gross, but not quite at the school. So
Right.
just drive on down Navarro and turn left on South, and you'll see us there blocking the street. And we just hope to really host a fun time for kids and families to come out and have some fun. We'll have face painting, a bounce house. A DJ is going to be out there.
How fun.
But then on the flip side, we also want to bring community resources that are out there, out in Victoria, down to the south side, so people can be hooked up with them on, if they're off of work, they can come and learn about things that might be available to help them out if they're still needing assistance from the hurricane. We'll have 3 case management groups, St. Vincent de Paul, Rio, Texas, and long-term recovery group down there to talk to people. And then just a lot of different agencies that can provide services. I talk really fast. I'm sorry.
You did great. You did great. Okay, so let's go to, what are Southside residents? I heard a laundromat. I heard grocery store. Maybe some interest in more public transportation opportunities, timelines. Those kinds of things. What in turn have you gotten from the community? Not the last question, but this question of what have community businesses said to you guys?
I think we're still in the works of creating those connections with existing business owners or people from Victoria who might be able to come and help provide those services. Our current mayor, our newly elected mayor, has been at 4 out of the 5 community meetings, and he's there listening, and he's there trying to kind of get feedback so that moving forward, I think he knows what the community wants.
Right.
And I think something that's important for me and many of the leaders in our group is not just farming these opportunities out to people, but saying who in our neighborhood has an entrepreneurial spirit that might be able to take this on if they had the right investment money.
I'm so glad that you said that.
Because truthfully, and we say this at every meeting, is things that are sustainable start with the people who live there. And so that would be a future hope for us, I think, is to provide some sort of business coaching or entrepreneurial sort of small business training to people that might have ideas on how to get started, but maybe not necessarily the resources.
Have you seen that in your community coming into these meetings?
I don't think yet, I haven't been able to be like, oh yes, they're going to own a laundromat one day or that kind of thing. But I do think that we have entrepreneurs that have been working down there for a long time doing different things.
And at Perpetual, like you've been there enough to know, like the human spirit. And once you have the validation that you are worthy, that this doesn't, your circumstances don't necessarily define you.
Yeah.
How that can change the life of one person, then in a family, and then
exactly. Sorry, I have chills always. It's a lot about creating a renewed sense of hope. And as corny as that sounds, it's true that kind of being able to show someone you are capable. You just need a little extra, maybe money or investment to get this off the ground and going.
Don't you do that, because I'll start doing that too.
Oh, sorry. I'm a very emotional person. Can hopefully push people in that right direction. You had said something, and this is something that I just wanted to state is that resilience is not taught. Resilience is, in that community from the very beginning. And so therefore, I think that's another reason that we're not saying, oh, come and save us and start a grocery store, that's not what we're saying. Don't, please, if you want to come start a grocery store, do that. But if there is anybody that's in that community that already has that grit and that resilience, that they just might need a few more resources, then I think that would be a future hope of us to be able to provide an investment or something like that in a resident that's already been there and knows the community and knows how it could possibly move forward. Sorry, I feel like I'm just going on and on, but with the creation of this group, we're literally just a group of people and organizations that have come together from the Southside. We are looking at possibly creating something that's a little more formal, because in the planning of this block party, we found that going and asking for donations for just a group of people is very difficult to do. You have to sort of be able to say, no, it's for this tax-exempt organization or things like that.
You guys are working on your nonprofit.
We're not totally there, because I don't think we're totally ready. I think it's going to come with some training of community members, because they're going to have to be the ones that will take the board member positions on. And so that's kind of in the future, is training. What does being a board member look like? What does it require of you? And then finding and recruiting those individuals who truly want that role.
I'm just in awe of just the creation of something like this in its infancy, to be able to see, because Victoria, we are I feel a very compassionate community, that there are a lot of philanthropists, a lot of givers. I've always felt like that we've been very blessed, but I've not ever really visited with someone who's creating this type of community coalition from the ground up. So I'm
a little bit crazy.
I bet it is. What an amazing mission.
One of the newspaper reporters who's been with us from meeting one, she just comes and kind of is learning about us, Kira. She used the word organic. It's so organic. I was like, that is definitely true. If that means disorganized at times, yes. And
that's what we're using from now on. It's organic.
And so, but it's been a lot of fun. And I just am super hopeful for passing it off, to community members, and I'm one of them now. I'll take that and own that, but also community members who have a history there in the neighborhood and are able to really take it on and make it theirs. And so it's just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So so number one, where do you guys meet?
Okay.
How often do you meet?
Okay, we meet monthly, and we sort of hop around a little bit. My facility isn't big enough to house a group of people, obviously house a group of people, but not hold a meeting of a group of people in one room. And so we've met, I think, 3 times at Meals on Wheels, which is on South Murray Street, 2 times at Mumford's Barbecue. 3 at Meals on Wheels, 2 times at Mumford's Barbecue, and we're hoping to possibly be able to use the Victoria Art League soon. Mark from VCAM works with them really closely, and so he might be able to help us.
That's where we started, by the way. South Bridge Street
That's
Live.
so cool. Because it's on Bridge Street.
It started in a small studio inside of the Victoria Art League.
Oh, how cool.
So I'm glad that you guys will partner with him. That's a great organization.
I mean, our goal was always to, meeting space-wise, was not to sort of create allegiances with any one church or any one school, or, you know, if we just didn't want anyone ever feeling like they weren't welcome because they don't go to that church or their kid doesn't attend that school. And so that's why we sort of focused on these either nonprofits or small businesses. I mean, my hope would be that we just outgrow those venues and we have to find a new place. But there's
a place of your own.
A place of our own. Wow, no, that's an idea. That would be really cool. So moving forward, I mean, the sky's the limit, truly. I know people kind of hear me talk and think I'm crazy, but I prefer to think I'm a dreamer.
A visionary.
A visionary.
Then you're definitely in the right place.
Awesome.
For sure. So what can we as a community do for you?
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume that the best way to find out where you guys are meeting is to look on your Facebook page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Our Facebook page group, I believe, is called Southside Community Coalition Victoria, Texas. Okay. And since it's sort of me kind of running that Facebook page, it usually only gets updated whenever a meeting is coming up or an event is coming up, because I'm really bad about social media.
It sounds like you're busy too.
So Facebook's
running a home.
Yes.
And this coalition.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Facebook's definitely the best way to keep up with what's going on or what's coming up. And then how people can get involved is to come to the meetings and just sort of hear, and if you're not from the South Side, come and listen and come and know, because I think one thing that makes us all human is that we all want the same things for our family. We all want to be and feel safe. We all want opportunities that can keep us healthy and, you know, keep us moving forward. And so sometimes as we're doing that for our own self and our own families, we forget that there are others that don't have those same opportunities as we do. And so I think coming to the group and being a listener and asking questions is great. And then, but also coming and saying, hey, I support you, because it is a we, it's not a us versus you. That first meeting, some of the words that came out of the mouths of the Southside residents were very surprising. We feel abandoned. We feel left behind. We feel forgotten. And so just trying to take those words and change the narrative. And so I think with the Southside Block Party, if people will be interested in coming out and bringing their kids and experiencing the neighborhood and saying, hey, this isn't an unsafe place. This is a place to come and we can fellowship with you guys and have community here at this party. I think that would be something to come and do.
So the block party, again, is this Friday. It is from 4 to 6 p.m.
Yes.
And it is literally on
East South Street.
East South Street.
Between Depot and Cameron. We've blocked off the streets.
Depot and Cameron. Oh,
And I think
is wonderful.
we might be kind of bulging at that one little place of street, because we've had a lot of community members that might not have been able to make it to meetings, but through Facebook I've learned about it. Even some individuals who have moved away into different communities, but their heart still is on the South Side because that's where they've grown up.
Right.
That have reached out to me and they're providing the funds to rent the bounce house or to buy slip-in slides, and it's truly amazing. Right now I'm trying to get my finger on everything that's going on so we can make sure everything has a spot, but there might even be some surprises that day, just
sure, and there will be, as all events
go.
Yes.
Just to say it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be kind of all encompassing, I think, because we have the resources and the more serious side of it, and then a lot of fun and opportunities for kids. And I would just, for those who want to kind of be involved, whether you're from the South Side or not, kind of present a challenge of come out and have fun with us that day, but don't let that be the last time that you step foot on the South Side. And
that's a great statement.
Because I think there's a sentiment that I've heard from people my age here in town as I've started to meet people and network is, oh, you don't go south of Water Street, you know, and I would challenge you to tell me why and show me news stories or newspaper stories that really express that. Really, a lot of the violence that's been happening in town is not on that side of town at all. And so just trying to really recreate that image of a safe place.
Wow. This is incredible work that you're doing, Bethany.
And it's not really about me. They made me come on the show. I was like, hey, who else wants to come and do it? Who wants to talk?
Hey!
They said, you're good at talking. And I think I just talk a lot. But it really is about the community. And I was not, like, the block party would not have happened this fast if I had it my way. I like to be more of a planner, but they said, no, we have to show people that we're here and we're doing something.
And I do love what you said earlier too about it. It might kind of be an overflow, which is great, because you know what? It's time that maybe we show up en masse and say, hey, listen, we are here to, you know, really support your endeavors.
And something my organization has always been really rooted in is not giving people a handout, but giving people a hands up. And I think that's a phrase that's overused sometimes and not really explained well. But, you know, it's not about coming out and just saying, here, you know, have this thing. It's coming out and saying, here are these resources. Now you're going to have to come and access them now that you know about them. And that's something that I do with my Women at Perpetual Help Home. You know, we try and lead them to where they need to be, but we're not going to make them do it, and you can't. And so just keeping that in mind, I don't think that coming in and just, I'm not going to express this well, but going down to the South Side and saying, oh, here, let me just give you all of these things. That's not what those people, the people need. Instead, they need relationships, they need community, and they need people to believe in them and know it's not an unsafe place.
Is that you really would like for our community to begin networking with these residents as well. And so I don't normally just stop and this is how I end it like this, but I would really encourage if you're watching this to you know, to share that with others in the community and let them know that the Southside you know, Community Coalition is looking for ways in which to engage the community members and to utilize resources outside of just donations.
Right, exactly.
To be able to educate and inspire.
Can I give an example of that?
Absolutely.
So Sarah Vella is awesome. If you don't know Sarah Vella from Vella Farms.
I'm very close with Sarah.
And she's been to a few of our meetings, and after the last meeting we sat and she said, I need to debrief. And I said, okay. And so we met up, and she said, I'm a small business owner, and sitting in that small business and retail group caused me to think, if we truly want neighborhood residents to be taking this on, then we need to provide training. She said, I'll do that. I'll step up and run those classes if you know somebody that wants to benefit from that. And so it's sharing your wisdom and sharing some of your networks and plugging people in. It's not just, you know, resources and things and money.
That's a great week.
But and she's also, you know, to me, downtown is also the South Side, and I think people say, no, it's not. So I'd love to see our downtown and South Side grow and thrive all at the same time.
Now, does Main Street, let me ask you this really quick, but does Main Street and the Main Street Development Program have any?
We have not, I mean, and I'll take that, I'll own that I haven't reached out directly to them, and I would love to, but it's
well, they're an interim, you know, they have an interim director right now.
Okay.
So
I'll need to do that. And so please remind me. And that's just kind of it's a me thing, just wanting to learn about those resources and networks and start to invite people as we find out, like, hey, we could be working together on this project.
What about the commissioner? Is there a county commissioner for
that
particular area?
And he's been to a couple of our meetings when he can make it.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So we're super excited. I mean, it's a lot of, basically our elected officials they've come to the table. They're saying, what do you need? And that to me is beautiful. And so moving forward, I think what our hope as the community group would be is to have that unified voice where now it's not just our representatives that are hearing us, they're only one vote on a council or a commission. And so having the community voice to go to them during their meetings and have community representatives be able to stand up and speak on our behalf is also going to be important and a step that we'd like to take in the future.
Well, it does seem like, right, it is going to take a village.
Yes.
But that you guys are willing and open and receptive.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Bethany, thank you so much for coming on Southbridge Street Live.
Ma'am.
Even though you made the comment like, well, who's going to go on Southbridge Street Live?
No, I
I
wanted to share the responsibility. But it's nice to meet you. Thank you.
It's very nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much, by the way, for participating in the CASA Backpack fundraiser.
Oh,
I think
for sure.
That's really neat to do that. So
Yes.
I'm really excited to be able to pay that forward, but to also see that the community, you know, is supporting me on this.
Definitely. And as a former teacher, you know, it's so important for kids to have what they need when they come to school, or otherwise they're just already starting the race a step behind.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you again so much for coming.
For sure.
And thank you all so much for spending your lunch hour with us here on Southbridge Street Live.